Hey everyone, welcome to a very first episode, I guess, of a brand new webinar series that I hope we can do in the future called Dear Dave, where essentially I'm just going to leave the floor open and I'm going to let you ask your questions about whatever it is that's on your mind when it comes to real estate. Today we kind of wanted to direct the questions about advice for your customer relationships, but we got so many different questions in over the past few weeks. So I just kind of put them all in a slideshow. The way this works is we've asked your questions in the past, we've saved them, we put them in a slideshow, and I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions. So let's take a look here. The first question is, how can I grow my business? So this is something that everyone wants to know. They want to know how they can grow their business. And that's really what we want to cover today. And there's so many different ways on how you could grow your business. And you have to kind of think about when you say grow your business, what does that mean? So it can mean a variety of different things. Are you trying to grow the territory in which you cover? Are you trying to add more agents to your brokerage? Or are you just plainly just trying to get more listings? So whatever it is you're trying to do, what's nice is that some of those things that you may be trying to do solve the problems that you're also asking. So if you were to consider adding more agents to your brokerage or expanding your territory, those two things combined could essentially lead to more listings. How so is because you're covering a larger area now, there are more opportunities for you to get new listings. Because you're adding more agents to your sales team, they have contacts that you may not know. They've got family and friends that are looking to sell or looking to buy. That's going to allow you to grow your business and add more listings to your offering. So that's really how that you can do that. If you've seen our webinars before, you already know that My State MLS is a nationwide platform. And we pride ourselves on being a way for you to grow your business. And one of the ways that you can do that is offering My State MLS as a tool to your agents, whether it's your current agents, or if you want to use it as a tool to hire new agents, whether they're leaving current brokerage or maybe they have just been licensed and they're trying to find a new home for that license so they can get started in their real estate career. You've got to set yourself apart, and by being able to offer them tools that they may not be able to get somewhere else is certainly a great way to grow your business. All right, so the next thing that someone asked was, how can I find new leads when inventory in my area is low? Last year certainly changed the real estate world, flipped it up on side its head, and things really changed when we saw COVID-19 really take effect on the world. A lot of markets got a lot of inventory, other markets kind of stayed the same, but the thing is buyers were looking to relocate to those areas, so the market became very hot. It became a seller's market. Buyers were paying premiums for their next home. Homes going into bidding wars, first offers being 10, 20% over the asking price. But you may be starting to see inventory start to trickle down, and now you've got to come to the realization, what can you do now that inventory is starting to dip to the lower side of things? We all know that referrals are the best way to bring in new leads, but you've got to think of other ways to also do that and think of places that you may not be taking advantage of. And one of the best ways to do that, of course, is going to be boosting your online presence. If you can, make sure you're staying active on social media. Make sure you're doing regular posts. We've done countless webinars here at State Listings reminding you the importance of having a social media presence, making sure that you are staying active on Facebook, staying active on Instagram. And when we mean staying active, we don't just mean posting a random picture every single day. You have to have good content and valuable content that's valuable to those potential customers, to those potential sellers down the road. So what you need to do is make sure you've got a game plan when it comes to your social media. Make sure you're posting pertinent topics. Maybe you're posting news articles about something that's interesting about real estate. Maybe we know that wood prices went sky high last year, but now we're seeing that they're dipping down to the lowest levels in the past 3 years. So maybe now is the time for people to reconsider building that house now. So maybe you can do something about that. So your online presence is certainly going to be very big. Again, we've also covered doing Facebook Live videos where you could talk about the market trends in your area. You can do walkthrough videos of properties just to make sure that your presence is known and on social media. That is a great way to generate new leads. And of course, you could always use those Facebook posts and turn them into ads and target those ads to your area where those buyers and sellers are. Our next question is actually coming from Caitlin in Wisconsin. I've got a note here telling me who it's from. She wants to know, is a website necessary to bring in more clientele? She adds that hers doesn't seem to be bringing in much traffic. This is a great question, and at the same time, it's also a pretty loaded question because there are so many things that go into a website that you've got to pay attention to when it comes to having a website, whether it's an agent website for yourself or it's for a company website. There's a lot of things you got to keep in mind. So let's say, we'll start off by saying having a website, 100% necessary. You need to have a website. If you don't, I suggest you start making one right away. Because again, we know that this digital age, if we need to know something, we just Google it. We need to figure out what size water filter is in my refrigerator. I just Google it. Now I know what I need to buy. If the same thing happens for real estate, if I'm looking for a real estate agent in my area, if I don't know one, I'm probably just going to Google it. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a good website. So if people in your area are looking for a broker to work with or a brokerage or an agent, or maybe they even just want to search for properties, you've got to make sure that you have a website, and a good website that's not only just up, but it's also up to date. It's super important to have that website current. Some of the ways that you can do that is integrating an IDX search site. So what that means is buyers, when they come to your website, they can search for properties in the area right there. They don't have to go to Zillow or Trulia or anything like that. They can search for the properties right there on your website. Then you could also do things that kind of go hand in hand with your social media. If you want, you could cross-post things. You could have a blog section on your website. So you could have blogs where you talk about different things related to real estate. Just like our Facebook posts, we can have an article about how wood prices are going down. We can post a video where we're talking about the latest market trends in the area. Those are things that you can post on your website to make sure that your homepage, your website's up to date and current. Then the next thing that you could also do, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but it could be a great ROI for you, and that's paying someone for good search engine optimization. So what this is going to do is they're going to help you create the pages necessary, add keywords to the site, so that way when a potential buyer or seller does that Google search in their area, on their computer, on their phone, it's going to help your website come up to the top of their search results, so that way you're one of the first things that they click, and that way they can see you first and hopefully reach out to you to be their real estate agent or broker. So this one, another long question here. Jay from Little Rock, Arkansas asks, my wife and I decided to become agents together and eventually want to start our own brokerage, but she handles things differently than I do when it comes to operations. Lately, it has been increasingly frustrating, but I'm not sure how to move forward, even though I still want to work towards our dream together. Do you have any advice for working with your spouse or family? The short answer is no. No, but really, there's a lot to take in there, a lot to consider, especially when you're considering about just getting your license and starting your brokerage. It doesn't say here how long you've been agents. Typically, to open a brokerage, you do have to be agents for a certain amount of period of time. And opening that brokerage, certainly a huge undertaking as well. You can't just brush over the fact that you want to open a brokerage. That is especially tough for anyone, but more so for anyone that hasn't been in real estate for a long time. In terms of your specific situation, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a relationship specialist by any means, but you really just have to sit down with your wife and talk it out. At this point, you need to look at your wife not as your wife, but as a business partner and determine what needs to be done to move forward. Because again, with any business venture, whether you're doing it with a family member or a friend, you need to make sure everyone is certainly on the same page to make sure that you reach your goal of opening that successful business. Again, I'm not a counselor, but I think sitting down with your wife and talking with her is going to be the best thing to do at this point, but just leave my name out of it. Next question is, how can I better utilize social media to promote my business? So this is something we talked about a few questions ago with your website. And the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you have pages for your company on the different social media platforms. If you've got a personal Facebook page, that's great, but you need to make sure that you've got a business Facebook page. If you're the broker, make sure you've got a brokerage website. If you're just an agent, make sure you've got a Dave the Real Estate Guy Facebook page. Whatever you need to make sure that you've got that professional Facebook page that's separate from your traditional one, where, the other one, you're leaving comments on your friends' kids, you're leaving pictures that have nothing to do with real estate. You want to keep that separate from your business life. You got to keep work and personal stuff separate. It's the best way to do it. And to best utilize social media is, again, to make sure you've got that schedule. There's 7 days in a week. You don't have to post every single day. You don't have to post multiple times a day. But if you can, create a schedule that you can keep and try to do maybe every other day, something like that. At least 3 to 4 times a week would be great. Like I said, set different topics for each week. So here at My State MLS, we'll do things like Motivation Monday, where we'll show a inspirational quote or a picture to get you ready for the week, to hit the ground running and make each week the best week possible. You could also do things like New Home Fridays, where on Friday you post a link to the latest and your favorite property of the week. There are so many different things that you can do, but making sure that you've got a schedule and you maintain that schedule for your social media is going to be a great way to engage with people. And of course, if anyone comments on one of your posts, one of your pictures, if you can respond back, even if you don't have anything to say in response, you can just go ahead, click that like button, letting them know that you've gone ahead and you've seen it. You're reacting to them. So that's certainly important. Again, Facebook Live is a great thing to start utilizing. Again, we saw a big boost in the usage of Facebook Live last year as social distancing measures and lockdown protocols were put in place. We couldn't do typical open houses and typical tours of homes. So Facebook tours, virtual tours became a big thing last year. And you can use your social media to do that. So you get out your phone, and on the day that you list that property, do a walkthrough, post it on Facebook Live, do it live as you're walking through the home. You can interact with people. Comments will show up on your screen. You can say, if you're watching this right now, go ahead, click that like button if you like this house. Use that as a way to engage with your Facebook followers to make sure that they know that you're the real estate professional in your area that they should go to if they're looking to sell or buy a home. Sticking with social media, someone wants to know, is it necessary to have a YouTube channel? It's not necessary, but again, if you want to start utilizing social media and you're going to start doing those Facebook Lives and doing those walkthrough virtual tours of homes, having a YouTube channel is certainly a great way to get your name, your brand, and of course your listings out there. Just below Google, YouTube is actually the second most used search engine. People are going to YouTube to find out how to do things like, how do I change a light bulb? Things like that. People want to know how to do home repairs. Lots of stuff, especially related to real estate on YouTube. So what you can do is those videos that you post on Facebook, whether you're doing a end of the month market report or if you're doing a virtual walkthrough of a home, why not go ahead, download that video, upload it to a YouTube page. And then what's great about YouTube is those links can then be easily shared via a Facebook message. They can be sent in an email, and they can even be embedded. So going back to your website, if you've got a website, to keep that website fresh, to make sure you're keeping it updated and adding it with the most recent info, post your YouTube videos to your website. How can I keep my customers and clients happy? So depending on who you're working with, whether you're working on the buyer side or the seller side, there's definitely different things that you can do to make everyone happy. If you're working with a buyer, the first thing to do is make sure that they know about brand new listings as soon as possible. It's not a good feeling if a buyer finds a house on Zillow or Realtor.com and they email it to you and say, hey, how come I didn't know about this listing? Why didn't you tell me about this home? And one of the best ways to get around that is going out and making sure you create a saved search for that particular customer and making sure that it sends automatic emails to them every time a new listing matching their search criteria is put on the market. So going back to what we offer here at My State MLS, whenever you create a saved search, you have the ability to create a drip campaign. And what that does is every time a new listing matches their search criteria, or maybe a property that was maybe just outside their price range, got a price reduction, puts it now in their price range, it's got all the bells and whistles that they wanted, checks all the boxes, it'll notify that buyer that that listing is now available. So that way you're automatically going to be doing all that work for your buyers. And it was only a one-time thing. We only had to set it one time, and it automatically emails them every time new listings come out. If you're working with sellers, this is where things can get a little bit trickier because what you've got to do is show them that you're doing the most for them as possible. You could make sure that you're in platforms like My State MLS, where you're making sure that their listings are on as many platforms as possible. But then you also have to make sure that you're following up with any other agents that may be showing the property. So let's say another agent does a walkthrough with their clients. When you follow up with them, your only question should not be, are they going to put in an offer or did they like it? There should be more follow-up questions to that. What did they like about the house? What didn't they like about the house? And find out if there's something wrong with the house that people aren't liking. If you get 3 comments back to back to back saying our customers didn't like the color of the dining room, maybe now's the time to go back to the homeowners and convince them to spend the $100 on paint and supplies and spend a weekend repainting that dining room to a more neutral color that's going to be more appealing to everyone. Yes, we all know anyone can just repaint a house once they buy it, but curb appeal, we all know, is super important too. So if everyone is saying they did not like the color of that dining room, see if you can easily change it and convince those homeowners to do that. Just by being able to offer them some input saying, all right, I've been following up with everyone, letting them know that you're still staying on top of their listing and they're on top of mind. You're not just putting their listing on the market and just waiting for someone to come by. You're being proactive is certainly a great way to keep your sellers happy, even if it's having to break the news to them that they may have to spend a weekend painting. Next question is, should I create an agent account on real estate search websites like Zillow and Realtor.com? So this question somewhat a little vague because I'm not sure exactly what they're referring to. If they're talking about just the free accounts that any agent can create, absolutely you should do that. If they're talking about those paid accounts where you get the upgraded premium or whatever they call it, advanced package, I'm not sure what they call them, maybe. So let's kind of go over the 2 differences of those. When it comes to the free account, yes, everyone should make one, and that's for a variety of reasons. Those sites like Zillow and Realtor.com, what they do is they track the traffic of all of your listings as they're on there. So being able to log into your account and see the metrics of what's going on with your listings allows you to stay on top. Again, these are things that you can then bring back to those sellers and make sure that they're happy with the results that they're seeing, letting them know that you're still on top of things and coming back to them with some good information. When you do create those free accounts on those sites, again, as always, make sure you're using the same email address as the email that you're using on your MLS that's providing the listings. That's because when those websites receive your listings, they're also receiving your email address. And then by having the same email address on all the platforms, it makes it easier for those sites to connect your agent profile on your MLS to your agent profile on that site like Zillow or Trulia. When it comes to the paid accounts, that's really going to be up to you because you're going to have to pay for these accounts. I'm not sure. I know they range in price, but you need to determine whether or not there's a good return on investment for paying for that account. You need to determine if other people are paying for those accounts in your area. Is it going to be beneficial for collecting leads? Is there a lot of homes on the market in your area that could help you get more leads from potential buyers? There's definitely a lot of things to consider there. So that one I can't give a definitive yes or no. That one you really have to determine whether or not it's in your budget and if you think it's going to be a good ROI for you. Our next question is, what can I do if a homeowner is not ready to list? You know the saying, everything is for sale if the price is right. The same thing can go for homes. But now you've got to determine what's your plan to go back to these homeowners if they're saying no. There's definitely things that you should do. You should not just forget about them. Maybe put them in your calendar, put them in your CRM, and leave a note for yourself saying, all right, check back with them in 3 months, check back with them in 6 months. But then also you can do some additional legwork as well. Make a note to yourself as to where they live. And then keep an eye on the market surrounding them. Are they in a particular neighborhood? Keep an eye on that neighborhood. Keep an eye on a half-mile radius. See when houses go on the market and how quickly they sell. How much are they selling for? Are they selling over market price? Are they selling over ask price? Are they going into bidding wars? If the yeses is checked for all these questions, it might be time to go back to that homeowner. You can say, hey, I know you weren't ready to sell when we last talked, but I've been looking at your neighborhood and lots of people are looking to buy. I just saw a house 2 blocks away. It went up on the market on Tuesday, and on Wednesday there was already 4 bidders going into a bidding war for that home, and it actually went for $50,000 over asking price. So may be the time to go ahead and list that property. Do you want to maybe sit down and talk about it and see what kind of price we can get for your home? So that is a great way to reach out and do that. So when it comes to if a homeowner's not ready to list, it's not a no. It's just a when the time is right. So just wait for that time. Again, keep a calendar in your CRM, reminding yourself to reach out to them. And then, of course, keeping an eye on the market in their area because you never know. Neighborhoods pop up like that where lots of people want to move into it, and they might just have one of those houses that everyone wants to move into. The next question, looks like it may be our last question, is how can I get my listings seen by more people? Again, the first thing that comes to mind is going to be your MLS. That's the first thing that you do when you put your listings out there. So the first thing you place it on is the MLS. And what does the MLS do? Is it sends it out to different third-party sites. But what if you are in a niche market and you have a large piece of land that the main clientele that would be interested in that property, they're not local buyers. It's most likely going to be someone from out of state looking to develop land. Maybe they're looking for a recreational area that they can go spend summers with the family. They're not in your neighborhood. So what you've got to do is you need to make sure that that listing is getting seen by people not only across your entire state, but across the entire country. And that's where My State MLS comes in. And that's why My State MLS is a nationwide platform, because we understand that not every person is moving down the street. You need to have nationwide exposure on your listings, and being able to offer that as a service to your sellers is a great benefit. So by putting your listing into something like My State MLS, it's being seen by brokers and agents across the entire country who represent those buyers looking to move to your area. Then on top of that, My State MLS is always working to find more websites to send your listings to. Yes, we know that everyone's going to Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com. But again, what if you're a broker, an agent, and you work in those niche markets? What if you specialize in land listings? Or what if you're a commercial broker? There's not a lot of websites that accept those types of listings. But with My State MLS, we're always trying to find those websites to make sure our members are exposed on those sites. That's why we've already been working with sites that specialize in land listings. We've just reached an agreement with a commercial website, and we're still adding more websites. So with My State MLS, you're able to get your listings out to so many different sites across the entire country and even around the world with our international syndication. So that way you can go back to your sellers and let them know that you're getting their listing out on as many sites as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap things up. I know we had a lot of questions in, but if you are interested in using My State MLS for yourself or for your entire company, we do offer both monthly and yearly billing options. You can sign up at any time by visiting mystatemls.com. If you're a broker and you think that My State MLS would be a good fit for your entire brokerage, again, we talked about recruiting new agents. If you think offering My State MLS as a tool to your agents, we do offer discounted office pricing as well, which would give accounts to all of your agents at a discounted bundled rate. So I just want to say thank you all for joining me today. We had a lot of great questions. Again, this is not going to be the last Dear Dave. I hope to do these periodically throughout the year because I do like getting your questions and hopefully helping you all succeed in growing your business and becoming the real estate agent you want to be. Again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to email me at dave@mystatemls.com. Get right into my inbox, and I hope to see some of your emails come in. I'd love to help you out. And you know what? I'd love to see you also using My State MLS as well. So until then, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.